there. My voice may be a little bit, well, compromised for today, but hopefully it doesn't affect that much. Morning, evening, and afternoon, people. For Elements, Candy Can, Cosmo Amandia, and Zappelli. Hello there. Today, we're gonna finally get into the realm of horror. But not just that, in the literature amount of horror. I've been looking forward to this for a long time now. But it took me a while to really land down to something that I can read and to find the materials that's gonna work today. So, today we're gonna read a bunch of different small or long creepypastas from creepypasta.com. And if you have any suggestions or anything you want me to read too regarding creepypasta, then feel free to give me a heads up so that I can read them too. Again, I greatly appreciate some form of, well, recommendations if there's good literatures to be consistent with. So, are we ready? I'm so tired from the Tokyo Game Show today. It was packed to the brim with people. What do you mean by that? Huh? And also, what the hell is happening? Oh yeah, that thing. Got it. Yeah, you can tell I never really go out. Hello, Leitsky. I recommend Psychosis if it's not on your list yet. Well, I don't particularly have a list for today. I just search most things up with a bit of the help of the algorithm, and that's it. So there we go. Ooh, how long is this one? 25 minutes. 21 minutes. Alright. Okay, alright. Let me put that onto the list of things I wanted to read. And to give a absolute, well, genuine experience, I'm going to try my best to read it without that much of reaction. But some of these ones are really good. So let's hope that it doesn't affect me that much. Before we even begin, dare I like to ask about what is your first ever time that you have seen a creepypasta? What is your first experience of creepypasta? For me, it was from Russian Experiment. What was it? The Human Russian Experiment, the one where they kept the patients awake for 4 days and they started to gouge themselves in from the inside too. That one was my gateway to knowing what creepypasta is, and it's also where I realized that, man, I do like to enjoy some really really horrid content. It was either Jeff the Killer or Bed Drown. Ooh, we go way back. Okay, yeah, that sounds like a good start. Sonic.exe. Okay. If there's ever a chance for me to, actually, cause no, I can't do this. Okay, alright. Wattpad, FNAF, and Jeff the Killer. I can't elaborate because that would be a rest. Okay, I'll take your word for it. But I see a lot of you share some interest about the Ben Drowned and Jeff the Killer. For me, it's the Russian Experiment stuff, and I thought that was real for the longest time. Then I realized that, wait a second, that doesn't really make sense, does it? So I soon to realize about how it means. By the way, this music in the back is really doing me in right now. Is it too loud for you guys? I am bewildered by this music. Fun, okay, right. Yeah, that one. Russian Sleep Experiment, that one. That was my first one that I've ever seen. And maybe we can go back to the classic for this one too. Maybe you can check out. The creepy piano music is making me sleepy. Well, depends on what you like to do with this stream. It's again one of those reading ones. So, oh, speaking of reading, how's it going there, Area? Saw your comment there. Unfortunately, you couldn't be with us for the last stream, but it's okay. You're here now. How's your day, huh? Welcome back. Today we're gonna read more of literature, but in a different sense. Well, copypasta sense. So, let me write down the first one. The first I'm going to read for today is It Watched from the Roof, and it is a survival horror that I found not so long ago, but I have not read through the whole entire thing yet. So we're gonna be reading that for the beginning. I was such a fangirl towards creepypasta. Some of my favorites were Slenderman and the Proxies. Ooh, okay, this one's about me. What? What do you mean by that? Alright. That is mildly disturbing. Let us begin and see how much similarities you guys share. Right. I Watched from the Roof. Written by Head of Spectre. I held a house to myself. My parents were spending a weekend in Toronto, and I spent the day hanging out with my girlfriend. Up until I dropped her off at home later that evening. It was an ordinary day, as close to perfection as possible. I took my girlfriend home at around 8 p.m. and got back to the house to relax, prepare for the night spent chilling out in the basement, watching movies alongside Charlie, my brother's dog. He's an ancient little bastard, and he likes the company. Naturally, Charlie wanted to go outside the moment I came in. Usually, he is over himself, jumping up and barking, and this wasn't an exception. I went to the back door and opened it up, letting him loose upon the frozen snow that covered our backyard. They hang around to let him back in when he inevitably got cold 5 minutes later. Maybe I was impatient, or perhaps he was taking longer than usual. I wasn't watching the time after all, after a while. However, I opened the door and called out to him. I figured he'd come running like he always does, but for some reason, he didn't come this time. I waited at the door for a while, looking around to see if I could spot him. He was outside alright, by the shed we have near the back of the yard, standing in the corner and staring at the house. He didn't move when I called to him. He just stood there, motionless on that frozen snow, in the moonlight, staring at me. I left him for a little while longer, figuring that he didn't want to come in. I stole a piece of some cherry cobbler my mom had put together and screwed around on my food. I went out to the living room to watch some TV, because Charlie would probably want to come in eventually. I had just started a rerun of The Simpsons when I thought I heard a scratch at the door. On instincts, I got up to let the mouthy bastard back in the house. But when I looked, he still hadn't moved on the spot by the shed. I could see the light reflected in his eyes. I'm not going to lie, that was a little creepy. I opened the door and stepped outside, calling out to him, hoping that he would come running. He just stayed there, stock still. That's about the point when it dawned on me that he looked off. I didn't have a clear view of him, just of his head and eyes. In front of what I assumed was his body, but looking a little closer, it appeared as if his body was prostrate, but his head was perfectly upright. Was it just some weird contorted pose? In the past, I have seen dogs do that sometimes, but round the eyes? Took a step off the porch. As I did, I noticed something. I could see ice between his head and his body. Not a piece of ice. I could see the ice behind him. It took my brain a minute to process it all before the truth dawned on me. Ellie's body and head were no longer attached. His body lay limbs by the shed, and his head impaled by what looks like a branch. On the porch, I hadn't been able to distinguish it from the back coat. But from my new vantage point, I could see it clearly. I took a step back, swearing and turning towards the house, and wanting to get back to that safety. That's when I saw it. I stripped down to the gazebo on the porch in preparation for the winter weather, leaving it a metal skeleton, covering in ice from recent freezing rain. Now I could see that the cheap metal buckling under the weight of the creature stood tense on top, cracking the thin layer of ice and staring at me with unblinking eyes that reflected what little light it was back at me. It wasn't an animal. I didn't know what the hell it was, and I didn't get a good look at it before it lunged at me. I tried to run, skidding backwards onto the ice, and the thing landed just a few feet away from me. I didn't waste my time watching it. I tried to bolt for the door, expecting myself to slip and fall with every step, as I didn't exactly have a solid footing. Maybe the thing didn't either. I heard a noise behind me. A scream. Like a person's. But wrong. It sounded pained and garbled, and it made my head hurt. I slammed my door behind me as I got inside, locking it, and staring out at the thing that attacked me. It stood almost 8 feet tall, with long, scrawny limbs and bulbous eyes that didn't look like they blinked. Its skin were gray and tied against his body. With every breath, I could catch a glimpse of his ribcage, his hand and long and bony fingers, each ending in a long, disgusting nails. I could see the dry blood on them. It stared at me through the glass, and I swear it was smiling at me. For a moment, I expected to try and break in. After all, that glass wasn't all that hard to break. I'd done it myself once, in fact. I would have been locked out. The creature turned away, crouching on all fours, loped towards Charlie's body. I watched as it grabbed the corpse and looked bad at me, before starting to drag towards the door, trailing the blood all the while. The thing wanted me to watch as it tore Charlie apart and feasted on him. It looked at me as it did its work, and I watched in quiet horror. It didn't seem to react when I took out my cell phone and called 911. I told the operator there that there was an aggressive animal outside my house. I lied and said it was a bear, though at that point, I was confident it was nothing ever seen before. The thing watched me throughout the entirety of the call. I didn't get the impression that it understood what I was doing. That, at least, was my advantage. It also didn't seem to think of just breaking the ice. I didn't want to watch what I was doing to Charlie, but I also didn't want it to take my eyes off it, just in case. The emergency responder asked me to stay on the phone. They were just fine by me. Sorry there. I waited, second and engaging this thing in a surreal staring contest. My earlier suspicions were then confirmed. Never blinked. Not once. I watched his teeth. His lengthy, uneven, carnivorous teeth tearing to the meat of my brother's dog. Listen to the sickening ripping noises. I didn't know how long we stay like that, staring at each other. The story's name is on the top right title there. Do enjoy your stay, Godzilla. I heard the siren not too long after. I don't know how much time passed, as I didn't bother to look at the clock. I was too afraid to take my eyes off that damn thing. A moment later, the sound of a nearby siren drew its attention. I saw it leap suddenly onto the roof. Its claws scraped against the shingles, and I followed towards the front of the house, where I caught a glimpse of the red and blue light approaching. By then, there was no sign of the creature or any more sounds from the roof. I watched one of the police officers come up to my walkway, his partner trailing behind, before breaking off to the head towards the gate leading to the back. The lead officer headed to my door. It was about to knock when he noticed me waiting in the doorway. I opened it just a crack. "It's on the roof!" I cried out, helpless to conceal the terror in my voice. Before the officer could respond, the strangled cry of his partner rang out, along a hellish shriek of the creature. I cursed and pulled my door closed again, watching as the officer drew his weapon and went around the back. I looked at my door and tried to follow his location through the windows. I monitored him closely as he made his way around the side of my house, armed with a flashlight and a gun. I only caught a glimpse of that thing when his light hit it. He shrieked and leaped away as it burned, revealing the mangled carcass of the other officer. I could see the white of bone and a mess of red that had been rendered unrecognizable. A telltale thud alerted me to the creature's presence on my roof. Remaining officers spun around, boots crunching in snow, trying to follow the piece. He raised his gun but didn't fire. I heard scratching on the roof heading for myself and the officer, which is ceased a moment later. I looked back at the officer, who stumbled back towards his car, trying to retrace his steps. Perhaps he was calling for backup before breaking into a clumsy run. He glanced at me momentarily through the window. Scratching on the ceiling told me that the creature on the roof was stalking him. I followed him back towards the front of the house, rushing from window to window to get a better view. He kept his distance from the building as if he could escape the creature's wrath. Reaching his car, I saw him open the driver's side door and then freeze. He raised his gun and fired 2 shots in the darkness. I didn't know if it hit his target or not. All I heard was the sound of the claws scraping along the roof as the creature retreated. Then the officer barricaded himself inside his car, and the waiting game began anew. The monster had made his escape by the time backup and the first responder arrived. Paramedic took Charlie's body away in the back, and another officer collected my statement. Then, with the cops still around, I got in my car and hightailed it to the nearby hotel, where I crashed for the night. I didn't know what the hell that thing was. What more it had planned. I don't think that the cop know much either, but so far, since the incident, it's been quiet. Although, if I listen carefully, I swear I can hear the sound of the nails clicking on the wood floor outside of my room. The end. A classic one. Just a survival horror creature one. It's not as disturbing or as terrified. I thought I'd start with something easier as opposed to just end with complete ferocity. That was It Watched from the Roof. Never mind, this wasn't about me. I'm in your walls, not outside of you. Jesus. But what is that? What is thing up on top of my roof then? Is it what? Alaya? Or like Celestia? What the fuck? Right, so maybe if we read something that's in the wall, then that's you. Wait, no, that's everyone that I know of. What the fuck? Who's to say? Well, we're about to find out. But before that, let's go to the next one, shall we? But the next one I wanted to read, the Psychosis one, from Zabelli. Since this one's a way longer, and I think we can have some pause within it. But still, yes, I want to begin with this one. 29 minutes of reading. The next one is called Psychosis. Now, I have not actually read this before, so what am I supposed what do I need to expect before I begin there, Zabelli? Am I supposed to should I voice act this, or should I just read it? From the looks of it, it looks like someone who's hysterical who wrote this. Ooh. Yeah, this looks like a fun read. Not gonna lie. Perhaps the man descending to madness and paranoia slowly. God, you guys just like to make me do this kind of stuff, huh? Okay. Right. Let us begin. Psychosis by Matt Demirsky. Sunday. I'm not sure why I'm writing this down on a paper and on my computer. I guess I'll just have to notice some odd things. It's not that I don't trust the computer. I need to organize my thoughts. I had to get down all the details somewhere objective. Somewhere I know that what I write cannot be deleted or changed. Now that that's happened, it's just everything blurs together here. The fog of memory lends a strange cast to things. I started to feel cramped in a small apartment. Maybe that's the problem. I just had to go and choose the cheapest apartment. The only one in the basement. The lack of window down here makes day and night to slip by seamlessly. I haven't been out in a few days because I've been working on a programming project so intensively. I suppose I just wanted to get it done. Hours of sitting and staring at the monitor can make anyone feel strange. I know. I don't think that's it. I'm not sure when I started to feel something was odd. I can't even define what it is. Maybe I just haven't talked to anyone in a while. That's the first thing that crept up on me. Everyone I normally talk to online while a program has been idle. I have simply not logged on at all. My instant messages go unanswered. The last email I got from anybody was a friend saying that he talked to me when he got back from the store. That was yesterday. I called my cell phone, but reception down. It's terrible down here. Yeah, that's it. I just need to call someone. I need to go outside. Well, that didn't work so well. As a tender of fear fate, I'm feeling a little ridiculous for being scared at all. I looked in the mirror before I went out, but I didn't shave the 2-day stubble I've grown. I figured I was just going out for a quick cell phone call. I had to change my shirt though, because it was lunchtime. I guess I'd run into at least one person I knew. And it ended up happening. That didn't end up happening. I wish it did. When I went out, opened the door to my small apartment slowly. A small feeling of apprehension had somehow already lodged itself in me. For some indefinable reason. I chalked it up to having not spoken to anyone but myself for a day or two. I peeled down the tingly gray hallway, made dinglier by the fact that it wasn't a basement hallway. On one end, a large metal door led to the building's furnace room. It was locked, of course. 2 Jerry soda machines stood by it. I bought a soda for one the first day I moved in, but it had a 2-year-old expiration date. I'm fairly sure nobody knows those machines were even down here. My cheap landlady just doesn't care to get them restocked. I closed my door softly and walked the other direction, taking care not to make a sound. I had no idea why I chose to do that, but it was fun giving in the strange impulse not to break the droning hum of the soda machine, at least for the moment. I got to the stairwell and took the stairs up to the building's front door. I looked through the heavy doors, a small square window, and received quite a shock. It was definitely not lunchtime. City gloom hung over the dark street outside, and the traffic lights at the intersection in the distance blinked yellow. Thin clouds, purple and black from the glow of the city, hung overhead. Nothing moved, save a few sidewalk trees that shifted in the wind. I remember shivering, though I wasn't cold. Maybe it was the wind outside. I could vaguely hear it through the heavy metal door, and I knew it was the unique kind of the late night wind, and the kind that was constant, cold, quiet, save for the rhythmic music it made as it passed through the countless unseen tree leaves. I decided to not go outside. Instead, I lifted my cell phone to the door's little window and checked the signal meter. The bars filled up the meter and I smiled. Then to hear someone else's voice. I remember thinking, I leave. It was such a strange thing to be afraid of nothing. I shook my head, laughing at myself silently. I hit the speed dial for my best friend's Amy number and held the phone up to my ear. It rang once, but then it stopped. Nothing happened. I listened to silence for a good 20 seconds, then hung up. I frowned and looked at the signal meter again. Still full. I went to dial her number again, but then my phone rang on my hand, startling me. I put it up to my ear. "Hello?" I asked, immediately fighting down a small shock at hearing the first spoken voice in days, even if it was my own. I had gotten used to the droning hum of the building's inner workings, my computer, and the soda machine in the hallway. There was no response to my greeting at first, but then, finally, a voice came. "Hey," said a clear, male voice, obviously a college age like me. "Who's this?" "John," I replied, confused. "Oh, sorry. Wrong number," he replied, then hung up. I lowered the phone slowly and leaned against the thick brick wall of the stairwell. That was strange. I looked at my received call list, but the number was unfamiliar. Before I could think on it further, the phone rang loudly, shocking me yet again. This time, I looked at the caller before I answered. It was another unfamiliar number. This time, I held the phone up to my ear, but said nothing. I heard nothing but a general background noise of a phone. Then, a familiar voice broke my tension. "John?" was the single word. Amy's voice. I breathed, a sign of relief. "Hey, it's you," I replied. "Who else could it be?" she replied. "Oh, the number. I'm at the party on 7th Street, and my phone died just as you called me. This is someone else's phone, obviously." "Oh. Okay," I said. "Where are you?" she asked. My eyes glanced over the drab, whitewashed cylinder block walls and the heavy metal doors with a small window. "At my building?" I signed, just feeling cooped up. I didn't realize it was so late. "You should come here," she said, laughing. "Nah, I don't feel like looking for some strange place by myself in the middle of the night," I said, looking out the window at the silent, windy street, and secretly scared me just a tiny bit. "I think I'm just going to keep working or go to bed." "Nonsense," she replied. "I can come get you. Your building's close to 7th Street, right?" "How drunk are you?" I asked lightheartedly. "You know where I live." "Oh, of course," she said abruptly. "I guess I can't get there by walking, huh?" "You could if you wanted to waste half an hour," I told her. "Right," she said. "Okay, have to go. Good luck with your work." I lowered the phone once more, looking at the number flash as the call ended. Then, the droning silence suddenly reasserted itself in my ear. The two strange calls in the eerie street outside just drove home my aloneness in its empty stairwell. Perhaps from having seen too many scary movies, I had a sudden inexplicable idea that something could look in the door's window and see me. Some sort of horror entity that hovered at the edge of aloneness, just waiting to creep up on unsuspecting people that stray too far from other human beings. I know the fear was irrational, but nobody was around. So I jumped down the stairs, ran down the hallway into my room, and closed the door as swiftly as I could while staying silent. Like I said, I feel a little ridiculous to be scared of nothing, and the fear has already faded. Writing this down helps a lot. It makes me realize that nothing's wrong. It filters me out half-formed thoughts and fears and leaves only cold, hard facts. It's late. I got a call from a wrong number, and Amy's phone died. So she called me back from another number. Nothing strange is happening. Still, there was something a little off about that conversation. I know it could have just been alcohol she's had. Or was it even that? Was it even her that seems off to me? Or was it? Yes, that was it! I didn't realize until this moment writing these things down. I know writing things down would help. I knew writing things down would help. She said she was at the party. I only heard silence in the background. Of course, that doesn't mean anything in particular, as she could have just gone outside to make a call. No, that couldn't be it either. I didn't hear the wind. I need to see if the wind is still blowing. Monday. I forgot to finish writing last night. I'm not sure what I expected to see when I ran up the stairwell and looked out the heavy metal doors window. I'm feeling ridiculous. Last night's fear seems hazy and unreasonable to me now. I can't wait to go outside in the sunlight. I'm going to check my email, shave, shower, and finally get out of here. Wait. I think I heard something. It was thunder. The whole sunlight and fresh air thing didn't happen. I went down to the stairwell and up the stairs, only to find disappointment. The heavy metal doors along the window shows only flowing water, as torrential rain slammed against it. Only a very dim, gloomy light filtered in through the rain, but at least I knew it was daytime, even if it was a grey, sickly wet day. I tried looking out to the window and waiting for lightning to illuminate the gloom, but the rain was too heavy and I couldn't make out anything more than a vague, weird shape moving at odd angles in the waves washing down the window. Disappointed, I turned around. I didn't want to go back to my room. Instead, I wandered further up the stairs, past the first floor, and the second. The stairs ended at the third floor, the highest floor in the building. I looked through the glass and I ran up the outer wall of the stairwell. But it was that warped, thick kind that scatters the light. That was much to see through the rain to begin with. This is good. Trying to get in the immersions. I opened the stairwell door and wandered down the hallway. And 10 or so thick wooden doors, painted blue a long time ago, were all closed. I listened as I walked, but it was the middle of the day, so I wasn't surprised that I heard nothing but the rain outside. As I stood there in the dim hallway, listened to the rain, I had a strange, fleeting impression that the door was standing like silent granite monoliths erected by some ancient, forgotten civilization for some unfathomable guardian purpose. Lightning flashed, and I could have sworn that for just a moment, the old, grainy blue wood looked just like rough stone. I laughed at myself, letting my imagination get the best of me. But then it occurred to me that the dim gloom and the lightning must mean that there was a window somewhere in the hallway. A vague memory surfaced, and I suddenly recall that the third floor has an alcove and an inset window halfway down the floor hallway. Excited to look out into the rain and possibly see another human being, I quickly walked over the alcove, finding the large, thin glass window. Rain washed down it, as with the front door's window, but I couldn't open this one. I reached a hand out to slide it open, but I hesitated. I had the strangest feeling that if I opened the window, I would see something absolutely horrifying on the other side. Everything's been so odd lately. So I came up with the plan, and I came here to get what I needed. I don't seriously think anything will come of it, but I'm bored. It's raining, and I'm going to stir crazy. I came back to get my webcam, The corridor isn't long enough to reach the 3rd floor by any means. Instead of going to hide it between the 2 soda machines in the dark end of my basement hallway, run the wire along the wall and under my door, and put black duct tape over the wire to bend it with the black plastic strip that runs along the base of the hallway's wall. I know this is silly, but I don't have anything better to do. Well, nothing happened. I propped open the hallway to stairwell door, steeled myself, then flung the heavy front door wide open and ran like hell downstairs to my room and slammed the door. I watched the webcam on my computer intently, seeing the hallway outside of my door and most of the stairwell. I'm watching it right now, and I don't see anything interesting. I just wish the camera position was different, that I could see out the front door. Hey, somebody's online. I got an older, less functional webcam that I had in my closet to video chat with my friend online. I couldn't really explain to him why I wanted to video chat, but it felt good to see another person's face. He couldn't talk very long, and I didn't talk about anything meaningful, but I feel much better. My strange fear had almost passed. I would feel completely better, but there was something odd about our conversation. I know that I've said that everything seemed odd, but still, he was very vague in his responses. I can't recall one specific thing that he had said. No particular name, or place, or event. But he did ask for my email address to keep in touch. Wait. Just got an email. I'm about to go out. I just got an email from Amy that asked me to meet her for dinner at a place we usually go to. I do like pizza, and I've just eaten random food from my poorly stocked fridge for days, so I can't wait. Again, I feel ridiculous about the odd couple of days I've been having. I should destroy this journal when I cut back. Oh, another email. Oh my god. I almost left the email and opened the door. I almost opened the door. But I read the email first. It was from a friend I haven't heard from a long time. It was sent to a huge number of emails that must have been every person he had saved in an address list. He had no subject. And it said, simply, "Seeing with your eyes. Don't trust them, they." What the hell is that supposed to mean? The words shocked me. And I keep going over and over them. Is it a desperate email sent just as something happened? The words were obviously cut off without finishing. Not any other day, I'd have dismissed this as a spam from a computer virus or something. But the words, "seeing with your own eyes," I can't help but read over to this journal and think back on the last few days and realize that I have not seen another person with my own eyes or talked to another person face to face. The webcam conversation with my friend was so strange, so vague, so eerie. Now that I'm thinking about it, was it eerie? Or was it a fear clouding my memory? My mind toys with the progression of events I've written here, pointing out I have not been presented with a single fact that I did not specifically give out unsuspectingly. The random wrong number that got my name, and subsequent strange return call from Amy, and a friend that asked me for my email address. I messaged him first when I saw him online, and then I got my first email a few minutes after that conversation. Oh my god. That phone call was Amy. I said over the phone, said that I was within half an hour walk of 7th Street. You know I'm near here. What if they're trying to find me? Where is everyone else? What have I seen or heard anyone else in days? No, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I need to calm down. The madness needs to end. I don't know what to think. I read about my apartment furiously, holding my phone up to every corner. See if I've gotten a signal through the heavy walls. Finally, in a tiny bathroom, near one ceiling corner, not a single bar. Holding my phone there, I sent a text message to every number in my list, not wanting to betray anything about my unfounded fears. Simply sent, "You seen anyone face to face lately?" At that point, I just wanted any reply back. I didn't care what the reply was, or if I embarrassed myself. I tried to call someone a few times, but I couldn't get my head up high enough. And if I brought my cell phone down even an inch, I lost signal. Then I remembered the computer and rushed over to it. Instant messaging everyone online. More were idle and away from their computer. Nobody responded. My message grew more frantic, and I started telling people where I was and to stop by in person for a host of barely passable reasons. I don't care about anything by that point. I just need to see another person. I also tore apart my apartment looking for something that I might have missed. Some way to contact another human being without opening the door. I know it's crazy and I know it's unfounded, but what if? I just need to be sure. I taped the phone to the ceiling in case. The phone rang. Exhausted from last night's rampage, I must have fallen asleep. I woke up to the phone ringing and ran into the bathroom. Stood on the toilet, flipped open the phone taped to the ceiling. It was Amy. I feel so much better. She was really worried about me, and apparently had been trying to contact me since the last time I talked to her. She's coming over now. And yes, she knows where I am without me telling her. I'm so embarrassed. I'm definitely throwing this journal away before anyone sees it. I don't even know why I'm writing this in it now. Maybe it's just because it's the only communication I had at all since God knows when. I look like hell, too. I look in the mirror before I came back in here. My eyes are sunken, and my stubble is thicker. I just look generally unhealthy. My apartment is trashed. I'm not going to clean it up. I think I need someone else to see what I've been through. These past few days have not been normal. I'm not one to imagine things. I know I've been a victim of extreme probability. I probably missed seeing another person a dozen times. I just happened to go out when it was late at night, or in the middle of the day when someone was gone. Everything was perfectly fine. I know this now. Plus, I found something in the closet last night that helped me tremendously. A television. I set it up just before I wrote this, and it's on in the background. The television has always been an escape for me, and it reminds me that there's a world beyond these tingly brick walls. I'm glad that Amy's the only one that responded to me after last night's frantic pestering of everyone I can contact. She's been my best friend for years. She doesn't know it, but I count the days I met her among the ones among one of the few moments of true happiness in my life. I remember that warm summer day fondly. It seems different reality from this dark, rainy, lonely place. I feel like I spent days sitting in that background, much too old to play. Just talking with her, hanging around, doing nothing at all. I still feel like I can go back to the moment sometimes, and it reminds me of this damn place. It's not at all there is. Finally, knock on the door. I thought it was odd that I couldn't see her through the camera I hid between the two soda machines. I figured that was a bad positioning, like when I couldn't see out the front door. I should have known after the knock. I yelled through the door jokingly that I had a camera between the soda machines because I was embarrassed of myself that I hadn't taken this paranoia so far. After I did that, I saw her image walk over the camera and look down at it. She smiled and waved. "Hey," she said to the camera brightly, giving it a wry look. "It's weird, I know," I said into the mic attached to my computer. "I've had a weird few days." "Must have," he replied. "Open the door, John." I hesitated. How could I be sure? "Hey, humor me a second here," I told her through the mic. "Tell me one thing about us. Just prove to me you're you." She gave the camera a weird look. Alright," she said slowly, thinking. "We met randomly at a playground when we were both way too old to be there." I sighed deeply as reality returned and fear faded. God, I've been so ridiculous. Of course it's Amy. That day wasn't anywhere in the world except in my memory. I'd never expect to mention it to anyone. Not out of embarrassment, but of its strange, secret nostalgia and longing for those days' return. There's some unknown force at work trying to trick me. As I feared, there was no way they could know about that day. "Alright, I'll explain everything," I told her. "Be right there." I ran to my small bathroom and fixed my hair as best I could. I looked like hell, but she'll understand, snickering at my own unbelievable behavior and the mess that I've made of the place. I walked to the door. I put my hand on the doorknob and gave a miss one last look. So ridiculous, I thought. My eyes traced over the half-eaten food lying on the ground, and the overflowing trash bin, and the bed I tipped to the side looking for God knows what. I almost turned to the door and opened it, but my eyes fell on one last thing. The old webcam. The one thing I used for that eerily vacant chat with my friend. Its silent black severe lay haphazardly tossed on the side. Its lens pointed at the door at the table where this journal lay. An overwhelming terror took me as I realized that if something could see through the camera, it would have seen what I just wrote about that day. I asked her for one thing about us, and she chose the only thing in the world that I thought they or it did not know. But it did! It did know! It could have been watching me the whole time. I didn't open the door. I screamed, screaming uncontrollable terror. I stomped on the old webcam on the floor. The door shook, and the doorknob tried to turn. I didn't hear Amy's voice through the door. Was the basement door made to keep out drafts too thick? Or was Amy not outside? What could have been trying to get me? Try to get in? If not her, what the hell is out there? Saw her on my computer through the camera outside. I heard her on a speaker through that camera outside. But was it real? How can I know? She's gone now. I screamed. Shouted for help. I piled up everything in my apartment against the front door. Glad for you to join in, Nice. Story is just on the long run. I kept running through it in my head. My point of view says I've acted like a madman. And all of this is the extreme convergence of probability. Never going outside at the right times by pure luck. Never seeing another person by pure chance. Getting a random nonsense email from some computer virus just at the right time. The other point of view says that the extreme convergence of probability is the reason that whatever is out there hasn't cut at me already. I keep thinking, I never opened the window on the 3rd floor. I never opened the front door. Until that incredibly stupid stunt with a hidden camera, after which I ran straight to my room and slammed the door. I haven't opened my own solid door since I flung open the front door of the building. Whatever's out there, if anyone out there, never made an appearance in the building before I opened the front door. Maybe the reason wasn't in the building already, was that it was elsewhere getting everyone else. And I waited until I betrayed my existence, trying to call Amy. A call which didn't work, until I called my name and asked me my name. Terror literally overwhelms me every time I try to fit the pieces of this nightmare together. That email, short cut off. Right there. Was it from someone trying to get a word out? Some friendly voice desperately tried to warn me before it came? Scenes with my eyes? Don't trust them. It's exactly what I've been so suspicious of. It could have been masterful control of all things. Electronic. Practicing is insidious deceptions to trick me into coming outside. Why can't it get in? It knocked on the door. It must have some solid presence. The door. The image of those doors in the upper hallway as cardiac monoliths flashed back in my mind every time I trace it, this path of thoughts. If there's some phantom entity trying to get me to go outside, maybe you can't get through the doors. I keep thinking back over the book I've read and the movie I've seen, trying to generate some explanation for this. Doors have always been such intense fauci of human imagination. Sorry there. Always seems as wards or portals of special importance. Or perhaps the door is just too thick. I know that I couldn't bash through many of the doors in this building, let alone the heavy basement ones. Aside from that, the real question is, why does it even want me? If they just wanted to kill me, they could have do it any numbers of ways, including just waiting until I starved to death. What if it doesn't want to kill me? What if it has some far more horrific fate in store for me? God, how can I do to escape this nightmare? I knocked on the door. Yes, indeed, it's a creepypasta, not copypasta there. There's a difference here, Ice. Sorry about that misinterpretation. told the people on the other side of the door I needed a minute to think and I'll come out. I'm really just writing this down so I can figure out what to do. At least this time, hearing their voice, my paranoia. And yes, I recognize I'm being paranoid, as me thinking all sorts of ways that their voice could be faked electronically. There could be nothing but speakers outside, simulating human voices. Did it really take them 3 days to come talk to me? Amy is supposedly out there, along with 2 policemen and psychiatrists. Maybe it took them 3 days to think of what to say to me. Psychiatrists' claim could be pretty convincing. If I decided to think this has all been crazy misunderstanding, and not some entity trying to trick me into opening the doors. What the... Hello there. Looks like there's another raid from Navi's chat. Dare not to interrupt this, but alright, do need to continue here. There's a scary entity. Well, that's up for a debate. Could be the cuter one too. Anyway, right. Welcome for the people who join in. We are reading currently the Psychosis, a copypasta. So feel free to lay back and not respond all that much in the chat and enjoy the story. Alright? Right, there we continue. A psychiatrist, an older voice, authoritarian but still caring. I liked it. I'm desperate just to see someone with my own eyes. They said I have something called cyberpsychosis, and I'm just one of the national-wide epidemic of thousands of people having breakdowns triggered by suggestive email that got through somehow. I said, I swear, he said, got through somehow. I think he means spread throughout the country inexplicably. But I'm incredibly suspicious that the entity slipped up and revealed something. He said I'm the part of the wave of emergence behavior, that a lot of other people are having the same problem, with the same fear, even though I've never communicated. Hello there, Capo and Tom. Unfortunately, I wanted to maintain the immersion of the story, so the reactions can be fair and few from me. I will still try to read your chat, but yeah, feel free to relax in the chat here. Whatever you wanted to do. I'll still read it, but I'm gonna read through paragraphs before I can finish and read it again. Alright? Where I was. I think he means spread throughout the country inexplicably, but I'm incredibly suspicious that the entity slipped up and revealed something. I said I am a part of the wave of emergent behavior, and a lot of other people are having the same problem with the same fear, even though we're never communicated. And neatly explains the strange email about eyes that I got. I didn't get the original triggering email. I got a descendant of it. My friend could have broken down too. I try to warn everyone and note against this paranoid fears. That's how the problem spreads, the psychiatrist claims. I could have spread it too, with my text and instant message online to everybody I know. One of those people might be melting down right now after being triggered by something I sent them. Something that they might have interpreted any way that they want. Something like a text saying seen anyone face to face lately. Psychiatrist told me that he didn't want to lose another one. That people like me are intelligent. And that's our downfall. We draw connections so well. We draw them even when they shouldn't be there. He said it's easy to get caught up in paranoia in our fast-paced world. A constant changing place where more and more interaction is simulated. I have to give him one thing. His great explanation. It neatly explains everything. It perfectly explains everything. In fact, I have every reason to shake off this nightmarish fear that some things, or consciousness, or being out there wants me to open a door so he can capture me for some horrible fate worse than death. It would be foolish, after hearing that explanation, to stay in here though I starve to death just to spite that entity, and that might have got everyone else. I would be foolish to think that. After hearing that explanation, I might be the one last people left alive on an empty world, hiding in secure basement room, spiting some unthinkable deceptive entity just by refusing to be captured. It's a perfect explanation for every single strange thing I've seen or hear. I have every reason in the world to let all my fear go and open a door. That's exactly what I'm not going to. How can I be sure? How can I know that what's real and what's deception? All of those damn things with their wires and their signals that originated from some unseen origins, they're not real. I can't be sure. Signals through the camera, fake videos, deceptive phone calls, emails, even the television's line broken on the floor. How can I possibly know it's real? It's just signals, waves, light. The door, it's bashing on the door. It's trying to get in. The insane mechanical contrivance. Could it be using to simulate the sound of men attacking the heavy wood as well? At least I finally see it with my own eyes. There's nothing left in here for it to deceive me with. I've ripped apart everything else. It can't deceive my eyes, can it? Seeing with your own eyes, don't trust them. Wait. Is that desperate message telling me to trust my eyes? Or warning me about my eyes too? My God. What's the difference between the camera and my eyes? They both turn light into electric signals. They're the same. I can't be deceived. I have to be sure. I have to be sure. Date unknown. I calmly ask for the paper and a pen. Day in and day out, until they finally gave them to me. Not that it matters. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do, huh? Poke my eye out? The bandage feels like part of me now. The pain is gone. I figured this would be one of my last chance to write legibly, as, with all my sight, be correct mistakes, my hands will slowly forget the motions involved. This is sort of self-indulgence. This writing is a relic of another time, because I'm certain that everyone left in the world is dead. Something far worse. I sit against the padded wall day in and day out. The entity brings me food and water. The mask itself is a kind nurse, as an unsympathetic doctor. I think it knows that my hearing has sharpened, and considerably now that I live in darkness. It fakes conversations in the hallway on an off chance that I might overhear One of the nurses talks about having a baby soon. One of the doctor lost his wife in a car accident. None of it matters. None of it's real. None of it gets to me. Not like she does. That's the worst part. The part I almost can't handle. The thing comes to me. Masquerading as Amy. His recreation is perfect. It sounds exactly like Amy. It feels exactly like her. It even produces a reasonable fast smile of tears. It makes me feel what is a lifelike cheeks. When he first dragged me here, he told me all the things I wanted to hear. He told me that she loved me. That she always loved me. That it didn't understand why I did this. That I could still have a life together. If only I could stop insisting I was being deceived. I wanted me to believe. It wanted me to believe. No. It needed me to believe that she was real. I almost fell for it. I really did. I doubted myself for the longest time. In the end, though, it was all too perfect, too flawless, too real. The false Amy used to come in every day and every week and start coming in all together. But I don't think the entity will give up. I think the waiting game is just another one of the gambits. I will resist it for the rest of my life, if I have to. I don't know what happened to the rest of the world, but I don't know if this thing needs to fall or its deceptions. If it needs that, then maybe, just maybe, I am the storm and its agenda. Maybe Amy's still alive out there somewhere, kept alive only by my will to resist the deceiver. I hold on to that hope, rocking back and forth in my cell to pass time. I'll never give in. I'll never break. I am a hero. The doctor read the paper the patient had scribbled on. It was barely readable. Written in shaky script for the one who could not see. He wanted to smile at the man's steadfast resolve, a reminder of the human will to survive. But he knew that the patient was completely delusional. After all, a sane man would have fallen for a deception long ago. The doctor wanted to smile. He wanted to whisper words of encouragement to the delusional man. He wanted to scream, but the nerve filaments wrapped around his head and into his eyes made him otherwise. His body walked in the cell like a puppet and told the patient once more he was wrong. That there was nobody trying to deceive him. The end. Holy hell. That is crazy. Hello, Theo. Welcome. This was a really good one. Not gonna lie. A really good one. Hey, this is crazy. Yeah, you tell me. Is it crazy or not? Your voice was beautiful. Okay. Right. Yeah, I'm trying. So, yeah. So here's the thing about this is that could it be that everything that he's been saying a bit of a true in the beginning? Because there's one particular thing that was pointed out by him that doesn't make sense to me either. Is the party one. If Amy was in the party, why was there no voice there? Why was there no ambient voice in the back when Amy was talking about it? And why did Amy ask where he lived? That was weird. So you mean you're hoping for a hentai novel? Can that even be a thing? Can I even do that? If I can do that, then I'll try. But I need some coworkers. if that's your intention, I don't. Does pure audio sound violates the sorry, that's yes, you can. YouTube DOS does have no policy against it. Fuck, jeez, oh god. Yeah, I can do that, but I need materials, but also some co-host to do that. Check got confused and thought it was a karaoke night. Depends on how you interpret it. This could be a karaoke night, you know. I remember listening to Undertale audio hanky panky when I was... Okay. That was not creepy at all. Right. On YouTube. Huh. If ASMR girls can call me a good boy, then you can read hentai. Okay, fine. I think I can do that, but preparation in materials. We'll need to work about that one, that's for sure. Oh my god. That sounds like a endeavor, to say the least. But I guess for the sake of my throat, I think we can read one more and we can call it a day. I did not expect this one to be this long for me. How long did it take me to read the entire thing? Because it feels like it's been a hot minute. Oh shit. Okay, it's been a hot minute for when I start reading this. Make sure to read creepy. How does that work? How does that work? For the sake of my throat, yes. For the sake of my freaking vocal cords. Something about your throat hurting. Something that. I'm trying to keep a immersion here, and you guys are breaking it. What the fuck? It's you guys making this worse, okay? It's not me. And now you're spamming the freaking fluster emote. Thank you. Thank you for that. And now you guys are starting again because I mentioned that. Fantastic. Alright, you know what? We can end this in a very classic one. How about that? Because I really like this. And I'm sure that you will like this if I were to do it. So motherfucker. So the next one I'm gonna read is I found a letter from my stalker. And the entire thing is just the stalker's point of view. So I have a feeling that you guys gotta like this one. Oh, you got my letter. Yep, this is a reading segment for the letter that I received from 4Elements. Indeed. You thought the house wasn't gonna fit? Well, not with that attitude. Anyway. Hello, demigod. Yep, time for you to snore, but I don't think you can snore within this context, because this one isn't just reading, okay? Why is my yandere voice so convincing? I hate it. But this is what you get for today. Right, let us begin, shall we? Estimated reading time, 12 minutes. And this is, I found a letter from my stalker. I found this note, nailed on a tree on my front lawn. I really don't know how to describe it. I'll just let you read it yourself. Note starts. I saw you today. It was your birthday. You didn't see me. You hardly ever do these days. Your skin looked so nice and healthy. Your eyes, they were the most beautiful I've ever seen them. You've grown so much. I remember how different you used to look when you were younger. I remember the day I first met you. It was 4 years ago. I was sitting at my desk, head down, listening to the teacher rattling off names for attendance. The teacher called out the name I didn't recognize, in a stranger's voice. Answered behind me. Was that a new student? The teacher didn't pause for a second, just continued calling out names after names. I used my head to where the voice had come from. I saw you. A pale thing, so thin, your eyes so red, at a sea that should have been empty. I saw the fireflies flying around you, flickering, dozens of them, never straying far from you. I saw them going through you, coming out through your skin, like you were a mist to them. Could you believe I thought you were a ghost? No one else seems to acknowledge the new stranger sitting at the back of the class. Class after class, hours after hours passed as I waited for something to happen. For someone to notice you, for you to leave, for you to let a ghoulish scream and claw at me like in a horror story I was certain I was in. But nothing happened. Teachers came and went, my classmates laughed and slept. And you just sat there. The bell rang for recess, and the other kids ran to the mundanities for the day, leaving me and you together in an empty classroom. You stood up and pulled a chair from the desk next to you and making face your desk. You turned your head to me and spoke. Well, you're slow today. Come on, ask me your questions. I don't know what I didn't run away screaming at that moment. Probably would have turned out better for me in the long run. But let's not speculate. I guess at that point in my life, I was pretty lonely. I figured there was only a 50-50 chance that you'd eat me, and the other 50 was that someone wanted to talk to me. Kid priorities don't make sense to me either these days. I went along with the flow. I walked over to your desk and sat down on a chair you pulled for me and asked my question. What were you? You told me you didn't know. You said that once you were a child, just like me, with parents and friends, you used to go to the same school as me. And one day, one ordinary day, when you were 10, you just woke up and you were like this, covered in fireflies. No one could remember you The day they concentrated on anything else. No one, not even your parents. Hello there, unknown. Sorry, I'll know. Just about to begin. And I just realized. Yes, alright. Welcome. Dare I like to continue? Here. Tell me how I notice you every day. How I think of you until recess every day. How I come to you every day. How we would talk every day. How we would meet for the first time every day for the last 3 years. About how I forget the instant I walk out of the room. How everyone will forget you. How the fireflies will make them. Over the last 3 years, you've been alone. Your story was hard to believe, so I didn't. I asked what the reality prank show I was on. You looked, well, unimpressed, and asked me to continue telling my story. I was caught off guard by the non-sequitur. You said last time I was here, I was telling you a story. Horror story about a haunted house. As you detailed the story, goosebumps prickled my skin. It was a story that I've been making up in my mind. A story that I hadn't told anyone yet. At that moment, a million reactions were open to me. All simultaneously adequate and inadequate. But the only thing that seems proper was to finish the story for you. So I did. Your guts shy the last time. Hello there. Oh no. Hope you have a good day here. Right. Halfway through, you interrupted me to ask if my mother had recovered from her sickness yet. I had to shake my head, a bit ashamed at the fact that I shared a private matter to a stranger. The story ended a few minutes before recess. The next class was in another room. You told me to go. Your steadiness took me back. You seem so accepting of your fate. Like you already gotten used to the idea of being forgotten forever. I was a kid back then. I wasn't particularly a smart kid, and it was probably on the onset of a crush. So you can excuse what I did as an example of the childhood stupidity. I grabbed my scissors and pressed it against my arm's skin and dug in. As I drew blood, I pushed it forward till the cut formed the shape I wanted. Letter by letter, I carved her name onto my arm. Just so you know, I don't regret that. Don't get me wrong, kid power might have made me do it, but it sure as hell didn't make the pain go away. It was one of the most painful experiences of my life. But even as a kid, I thought what was happening to you was unfair. I remember how your eyes opened and looked when you saw that. The confusion. How strange it was for you that everyone will want to remember. I remember that so clearly. When I woke up the next day and saw your name on my arm, I remember you. I didn't forget. That day, for the first time, I had a conversation that wasn't so one-sided. You said no one had ever done anything like that before, and suggested that I might have a mental illness. I won't deny it. I drew a little blood. As we talked, A creepy thought came into my head. Did you prefer it? When I don't then remember? The people in the chat are listening to the story right now and know. So, hello from me. Hope you have a good day. That night, I was sitting up on my bed, staring at your name on my arm, wondering if I should cover up so I couldn't see it and give you back your privacy when I hear a crash. I looked up to see my bedroom window shattered and a dirty rock on my floor. I looked out on a cracked window to see a dark figure on my lawn. You were outside yelling about how we should hang out. It took me a while to get used to how bad you were at talking to people. Years of practice made you quite a bit rusty. That was alright. We had a lot of time. For the next 2 years, we spent most of our free times together. Most of the time, we talked. You tell me an aspect of your life, how you lived. You still stay in my old house. Stay in your old house. Parents never noticed the food that has gone missing. Never noticed the extra room. That you've stolen the extra keys. One night, I confided in you that I was beginning to think you were part of my imagination. Fight Club style. After all, how could you do to me that I couldn't do to myself? You spent the next months or so trying to leave bite marks on my ear and neck to prove a point. Still have a few scars on my ear. I guess you did. Looking back, I could see the warning signs even then. Your skin seemed to get worse and worse, paler and paler, and you rubbed your eyes raw. It was in the winter we had a wake-up call. The morning began like any other. I woke up, brushed my teeth, and started to searching for clothes to wear. It was a winter morning, and my room was dark. I didn't see your name on my arm. A cold sent shivers through my body, and pulled out a long-sleeve jacket. A small bell rang in my head. Don't you usually roll your sleeves up? Yeah. Why did I? I was annoying. I finished tidying up and headed to school. On the school bus, I felt oddly content. Like something I've been worried about had just disappeared. I walked up the school stairs, down the hall, through my classroom door, and sat down at my desk. The same feeling of burden, forgotten, hounded my mind. What was I forgetting? When recess came, I just sat at my desk when my classmates ran out. It felt like a ritual. I didn't know what for. I was contemplating on just walking out to join them. I heard it. There was something small in the wind, like a whisper. But it came over and over, incessant. It sounded like my name. I knew this was strange, that this was more worth my attention. But I felt oddly calm. Everything would be alright. Everything will be fine. Just ignore it. I sat there at my desk, my mind a war zone between two conflicting, contradictory voices. When I felt a force tugging on my sleeve, the moment I noticed this, my jack sleeve was torn open. I saw your name on my arm, and then your head, and that ripped my jacket open. You've been yelling at me 20 minutes. I think that was the moment that we realized on an edge our friendship really was. One accident away from complete erasure. We spent most of the next years in library together, trying to find out what the fireflies were. That wasn't really a problem for me. Because of my mother's treatment, my family couldn't afford to go on any trips. And the house didn't have heating anymore. I was happy to spend my time with you. Try to find information was a puzzle in and of itself. After all, how would I read about the people I couldn't remember? How would you find out what was special when no one could even remember enough about them and record them? We found our old family trees and records. Individually, we write down the names of everyone in a book on 2 lists. And then we'll compare. The names I hadn't remembered to write down, but you had, become the focus. They were the names who were under the curse of the fireflies. I compiled a list of suspicious books we thought could help us, because they were written by or were about the people we were searching for. I read the books with the list of names side by side, reading it again for every page of the book. You scour the internet on the library computer and I look out for articles about the people. Our search will lead us to the first glimpse we got of what was really happening to you. It was late at night when you found the picture. I was a bit drowsy at that time, almost about to nod off when I heard a sharp intake of breath. I turned to see you standing up, pointing at the screen. I didn't see anything. Well, anything noteworthy. On the screen was a picture of a clearing somewhere in the woods. You held up your piece of paper where you marked out the 2 names. Susie Appleby Reagan, 13. Terry Appleby Reagan, 12. Siblings. For a moment, I saw the paper and the screen side by side. Side by side, and then I saw them. 2 figures emerging from the woods towards the camera. They were almost humanoid, with the exception of their limbs, which stretched to nightmarish proportions. Their blank, white skin was that of a pure albino and looked more like tree bark than anything you expect to find on a mammal. A cloud of fireflies rounded the duo. The shorter one looked emaciated. I could see their ribcage. Around their eyes. God, their eyes. So small. So red. The taller one, the white hair, didn't look alive anymore. They were a little more skin wrapped around the skeleton. Fireflies swarmed out of the pair's empty eye sockets. Both reached for the cameraman. I look at the article surrounding the picture. It was a blog posted by a hiker, 20 years after the last mention of the 2 kids. The picture was a mystery to the cameraman as well. He'd been wanting to go to the woods picture for a while now, but he never actually remembered going there. The picture had just appeared on his camera one day, out the blue. For a moment, I look at your face, your thin, pale face with those red vein eyes. Would that be you when my scar faded? It's a walking horror I glimpsed. Then forget. We worked through our reading list at a much faster pace starting from that moment. Maybe we should have gone slower. Maybe at least every book, every website we left untouched promised hope. The books that we finished and tossed aside promised nothing but a clearing in the woods as one's future. And we tossed aside a lot of books. I believe I torn through 3/4 of the reading list before I stumbled across the journal. Oh God, that terrible, horrible journal. The journal used to belong to a mental patient named Joey, that claimed to be a serial killer. He was locked up in an asylum when the police discovered his supposed victim never existed. He was diagnosed with a need for attention and shoved away. They should have electrocuted him, should have fried him until his flesh melted and his hair burned. In a journal, he looked at about how he carried out his killings. He knew things, bizarre and disturbing things no one else knew. He knew of the strange creature that lived in the woods. Of them, his favorite were the fireflies. I'm not going to tell you how he summoned these things. I trust you. I trust you more than anyone. But a thing like this belongs to the ground more than anything it will to the human mind. In the end, it's sufficient to know that these things are not fireflies. Joey would start his rituals by taking a kid, any kid, anyone he pleased. He could take them to at any time in the dead of night from their own homes or in the broad daylight from their front yards. It didn't matter if he was seen. He'd take them to his house and drag them inside. Usually, an Amber Alert came up at this point. He didn't care. Like I said, it wouldn't matter soon. He dragged them to a special room in his house. Here the fireflies would come and latched onto them. Now, nobody was searching for the kid. Not the police, not the parent. Nobody. From then on, he could do whatever he wanted to the kid. He got bored of them after a day or two, after the kid had broken. At that point, he disposed of them. Hacksaw, kitchen knife, anything will work. He detailed a large pit of bodies he kept in the woods, swarming with bugs. One day, I guess he got bored of that too. I went right to the police station and turned myself in. Not on account of guilt. No. He just wanted someone to know not about the stuff he was doing. Sick bastard. Oh, don't get the wrong idea. He never stopped killing kids. The asylum door didn't stop him from doing what he liked. It just made him improvise. He made a new way. He modified the flies so they could escape without a host, just in a dormant state. When a child would approach the swarm, it will latch on and begin its effect. Over the year, the child will warp horribly into the things we saw in the woods. I wish I could hate him in peace. I wish I could say the world owned him nothing, but that wouldn't be true. He detailed a way out. On the final page, there was an exact explanation on how to get rid of the fireflies. You must see something in my face, because at that point, you ask if had I found anything. I said no and closed the door. A few minutes later, you shut down the computer. You picked up the last book and went through it yourself. When you reached the end cover, you tossed it aside. I asked what we should do now. You said it was alright. I could go home. We talked about it in the morning. I stood up and walked past the shelf of books. I headed for the library entrance, stopped right outside the door, and waited. I waited until I heard the sniffling sounds. I sneaked back to our table, where you were quietly sobbing. You had your head in your hands, sat back down as you raised your eyes to me. You told me you wished you never met me, how happy you were and you had nothing to lose. I ruined your life. You never really gotten better at talking to people. That was the worst love confession I ever heard. I remember how we kissed tonight. I remember your hand gripping my hair. I remember that kiss. I wish it could have been just a kiss. I'm sorry I ruined that moment. When my arms were around you, I was close enough to steal a firefly without you noticing. I remember holding a firefly in my hand. I remember how I struggled. Until it didn't. Until it was a part of me. The firefly shifted. It came over to me. And left you. I remember the familiar look in your eyes. The confusion. I never wanted to see that confusion in your eyes anymore. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to know that. I wasn't really living. Anyway. You reached for me. I pulled away as the last light of recognition faded from your eyes. And then you were just staring at a stranger. Walking away into a crowd of strangers. That was a year ago. You have gotten so much better since then. You have so much friends now. So many people at your birthday party. And you also look so much healthier. I haven't been as fortunate. My skin's gotten a lot paler. My eyes hurt a lot all the time now. I couldn't go to school like you. You did all those years. I haven't wasted my time though. I found Joey's pit. The bodies. There were so many bodies. They were a grave for those children now. Without me, my mom could afford her surgery. She looked so happy. Just yesterday, I saw her playing with my baby brother. I saw you crying yesterday. You were with your friends, laughing. For a moment, your eyes met mine. And then, they were so wet. I think I'm going away. For good. I think you're not going to be happy if I stick around. I'm so happy I met you. Even if you don't remember me. Note end. Sometimes I go through depressive episodes. Feel so lonely. Even with my friends. I don't know what's going through my head during these times. And sometimes I ended up in the bathtub. A knife in my hands. My wrist bleeding. Until now, I thought I was cutting my wrist. I wasn't. The cuts. They're letters. And I've been carving a name onto my arm. Finish. What the fuck? What the fuck was that? That was so good. What the fuck? That was terrifying, but also tragic. You can tell that I was trying to shift my voice from yandere to saddening by the end of it. What did I just read? I thought I was a... What? That was crazy. I was thinking about getting scared, but this wasn't getting scared. This was... I'm getting horrified. And there are different ways to get horrified too. But this was so good. The fireflies, Joey, being forgotten, and taking a place with him. Wow. This one's crazy. Such a turn of pace, cause just a quick question, like, how is this, like, this is... I'm not the only one who got confused in the middle there, right? Because throughout the entire thing I saw this gotta turn like a 180 degree and then become something like a stalker would say, like, even with all the fireflies and all the with all the friends that you don't have as of then, I still care for you, but you didn't, so I'm here. I will forever be here for you, even when you're not expecting it. I thought it was gonna be something like that, but that was not it. This exceeded my expectation completely. Holy shit. Was the letter 400 pages long or 400 meters long? Yeah, this is a one hell of a long letter. Let's just say that. They have a clipboard for it. Oh wow. All right, you know what? Let's end it with one more something else. But this time, I'll try to go for some bodily horror, some body horror. All right. That one was really good. That one is truly really good. I did not expect the ending. Absolutely not. Holy hell. Jesus. That doesn't really make sense at all with all the fireflies and the child groomer. Yeah, that just become more confused, more terrifying now that I say it out loud. Ugh, okay. Let's end with a shorter one, okay? So, sorting by main. Categories. Not survival horror. True scary story. No, not that either. Not that just one more joke. I can end it right now. I mean, but I kind of want to. I'm trying here, okay? This is fun. This is fun. To read through stories. I like stories. There's poems. Really? Ooh. Alright, you know what? Let's end this with a poem. How about that? This poem is called Krampus. Written by J. Special. I think sort of name. Krampus. There we go. Alright. Let's end this with Krampus. That sounds weird, okay. Tags are beings entities, murders, deaths, monsters, everything, and Christmas stories. You know what? This is. I'm gonna lead this to Christmas. How about that? I want to lead this to September. Oh no, not September. December. Rewind more. My brain disconnected 15 times over the Stalker story because of how much it was freaking. Yeah. Okay. Right. How about this? So this is poems with deaths, murders, and disappearance. All right. This is a really not so short one. A really long one. Fuck me. Okay. About 5 minutes. It's a story called a poem called "A Promise of the Heart." There we go. And it is presumably a story about love and death. So let us begin once again. Wait, is it posted anomalous? No. Produced by Charmingly Shallow. This one is a long poem. My first love was a pretty girl, with golden hair and skins of pearl. I thought our meeting was one of chance, our scents caught in a first glance, and watch our love unfurl. Our lives entwined at dizzying rate, as if our love was set by fate. And none were taken by surprise when talk of marriage did arise. And soon we set a date. The engagement ring I slipped upon her hand was an expensive golden band, topped in the center with a ruby solemn red, as if some heart had been fed to suit the love she demand. For though gentle in her looks so far, the passion dwelt far under there, a will of iron and mood to match. And though she was indeed a catch, I often wonder at her stare. For day by day I saw her look at the ring, the time she took, and then glance at me as if to say, I've caught you now, you can't get away. Like a fish pierced upon a hook. And then one night, as we lay in bed, in a simple monotone she said, promise me you'll love forever. Now on this ring, not even death was sever. The love that hold us in its stead. At this her hand, I gripped mine tight, as if to bind me to my words that night. And laughing, I repeated them, addressing that dark and solemn gem. For sleep I stole my sight. A month before the wedding day, she fell ill and wasted fast away. I sat beside her bed and wept, as my love, adrift in illness, slept, but could no longer stay. I held her hand as she passed on, until the night light in her eyes had gone, and whipping back a final tear, I promised all those who stood near she would be the only one. Before her death, to all she dressed, she wished in her bridal gown be dressed, and so buried in silken white, as if a princess waited for her knight, laying peaceful at her rest. Admiring her serene face, her head rounded by her veil of lace, I looked down to where her hands they lay, and followed her final say. the ruby ring took pride place. Love, however, will have its sport, and turn my promise into naught. But it was I loved once more, a girl whose charm I did adore. For time is long, and memory short. Her beauty was not marred, but a nature dark and hard. Instead, her mood was light, her eyes both kind and bright, and she healed a heart once scarred. Happy times with her had led to me thinking things long since fled, of a future spent just her and me. And I knew she eagerly agreed to make my mind that we should wed. But on the day that I proposed, dreams of my first love, now deposed, began to fill my every night. With vision wove the sickly fright of her displeasure not disclosed. Asleep, I had a dream of a graveyard gloom, and me in the trappings of a groom. Less dress, I hear a happy cheer coming from a church door near, and walk in to some unknown dune. The church aisle stretched far ahead, each row populated with the dead, and while the organ wailed within, they threw confetti and corpse skin as I stumbled to my love to wed. They looked at me with empty eyes, their socket round and black inside. A need to flee, to simply run, but my steps will only lead me on until I stood beside the bride. A vice grip will take my hand, and therein frozen terror stand. My pride would then turn her head, the warm riddle mockery of she now dead. My first love's wedding now at hand, every night the self-same dream, till my sanity now stretched the seam, and every night I saw her clear, the thing that she had held most dear, the ring in its ruddy gleam. Maybe I was mad by now, but I knew the dreams had shown me how to finally free myself from she whose spirit would not let me be. And so I made a vow. Only the moon saw me leave at midnight on my wedding eve to the graveyard, to where she lay, to dig out all that miserable clay, and from her hand that ring to cleave. I no longer wonder if I should, only knowed what I would. So grip of anger and nascent fear, I haunted she I once held dear, until the spade struck wood. I clambered in the hellish hole, and looked upon my wretched goal of to claim back that cursed ring, and end the nightmare of that thing that stalked my dream and racked my soul. And then, as if in part the devil's jest, the hollowed silence was seemingly blessed by the maddening calling of my phone, that incessant, demanding drone. Into my head, the phone I pressed. My new fiance's voice filled my ear, her voice too fresh and crystal clear to be heard in such an awful place amongst this deadly quiet race, but still I stopped to hear. She gushed about a gift she found, left on her bed and simply bound. For me, she known it must have come, for its beauty near struck her dumb. A golden ring with ruby round. What words, I said, I do not know. Mind gone blank, and thoughts gone slow. Single dreadful thought was left, and with the spade, the lid I heft, to see what horror was below. There she lied in rotting glory, her nails and hair grown long and hoary, Cinderella bound in death, with stench, not looks, now took one's breath. A bride is a horrific story. She wore a torn and pardon. She wore a torn and mildewed gown, in mottled green and rancid brown, her flesh and skin picked clean by time and morbid things obscene, bearing swollen maggots for a crown. With wide eyes I cast around, with a casket and surrounding ground, but no ring I saw in that horrid place, just a rictus grin on that mocking face, till I hear a shallow beating sound. I follow the voice to whence it came, real or not, it meant the same. The odd sound that my attention caught was not the thing that I had sought, but then I saw source of blame. The sight was of no wedding band, but in seeing I knew myself full damned. With a grisly meeting, I saw my own heart beating, grasped tightly in her bony hand. Now here I sit, in broken dread, in a grave of one thought long since dead. To her, the promise made on my heart was an oath on which she would not part. And from me now, as all hopes fled. When around the grave stand figures tall, spades held in bony hands of all, a buried party just for me, my first love for eternity. And on me clumps the dirt, now falls. I shall write these words and place them near wise times left. I'll state it clear. Make no promises you cannot keep, for in truth the dead, they do not sleep, and a broken word is much to fear. Finished. Wow. So that's what you said. That's what they say about this. Do not make empty promises. That was a good one. Oh, that was a good one. That but quite disconnected for me, because Jesus, that is crazy. That is saddening, but also terrifying. We just read The Vampire, so we know about how terrifying it is to see the deaf people comes back. I love the way you're telling this creepypasta. I just like to tell it with a bit of emotions inside, so it feels like it's immersive and in the context of the story. I mean, you can always just go online and just put in prompts for AI voice to make some reciting for stories. So that's what I'm here for. That's so much emotions in it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. This is why marriage is big cringe. You get cursed for all eternity. If I say this, it sounds very naive. But if I really wanted to stay with someone, if I truly love someone, I do believe that the love will be eternity. For me, I will stick by her or him towards the end of time. And if it means to be, well, single after one's passing and alone, then so be it. I really loved one, and that's one enough for me to carry on. Oh, hello there, Mr. August. Sorry you're late. Well, I should apologize for that too, because unfortunately I think that's the last one we're gonna do today. We read some really good story today, so really good. I love them. There's some twists and turns, and if I wanted to say my favorite, it's definitely going to be the what was it, the one before this. That one was so far my favorite. Not gonna lie. I'll gladly be single after loving someone there, but not with a curse looming over me. Yeah, you know what makes sense. Why does it sound so cringe but sweet at the same time? I love that too. Well, that's what I'm here for. To be cringy, but also sweet. At least I nailed the first part. I don't know. But let's see. Yeah, I think that's will be it for today. I love reading this, and I hope to be able to do this more. But I don't think I'm gonna be able to stream tomorrow since there's a lot of things I have to do for now. We'll see. Again, if it's on schedule, then I'll look to if it works or not. But if it does, I'll notify you on Twitter. So if you have not followed me on Twitter, I always post the news of the stream before we started streaming beforehand, a few hours before. So do go enjoy that and go check it out. And yeah, enjoying this a lot. I also enjoy this a lot. Maybe my vocal cords doesn't really enjoy this a lot because I'm dying since I was drinking yesterday, and now I've been talking for the past 2 hours and 20 minutes. So my throat isn't exactly being happy about this part, but well, everything for entertainment, and I'm entertaining myself too. So so I'm glad for this to happen. Oh there, Kiryu. I'll clean your room, and you made it a much more enjoyable task. I'm glad to be of help there, Kiryu. But yeah, thank you so much for being here, even if you're just in the background and just listen to the story here. I wish to do this more, and if you have any suggestions for creepypastas, feel free to tweet me, or put more in this comment down below. So if you have any more recommendations for creepypastas, or even copypastas, you might want me to read anything else, you can either comment on this stream, or on Twitter, where you can use the hashtag ideas to that. So yeah, that'll be it for today. Maybe Yakuza game and Persona 3. Oh, I am too broke. Sorry for that. But until next time, thank you so much once again, and I'll see you, hopefully, very, very soon. The next time.